On Earth, Anna monitored the results of her team's efforts, her heart pounding as she watched the alien fleet falter. "It's working," she whispered. "They're reacting to the signal. It's affecting them on a level we don't fully understand." Marcus nodded, his expression grim. "Good. Let's keep the pressure on." The alien commander paced back and forth in the vast control room of the flagship. Rows of glowing consoles and busy crew members surrounded him, their insectoid eyes reflecting the flickering lights of the holographic galaxy map projected in the center of the room. His mandibles clicked with irritation as he reviewed the report. "Humans," he muttered under his breath. The small blue-green planet orbiting its unremarkable star had become a thorn in the side of the galactic collective. "They are primitives, barely emerging from their cradle, yet they've repelled every attempt at subjugation. Why?" The story continued, with no clear end in sight, as two very different species clashed in a battle that was about more than just territory. It was a fight for identity, for survival, for the very soul of what it meant to exist in a vast and unforgiving universe. And as the stars bore silent witness, the outcome remained uncertain, a testament to the unpredictable nature of humanity and the unyielding spirit that drove them forward. The alien commander stared out the massive viewport of the flagship. The curve of Earth glowing faintly against the blackness of space. Below, flashes of light marked the ongoing battles, a constant exchange of fire between their forces and the relentless humans. His mind churned with conflicting thoughts. He had waged countless wars across the galaxy, crushing species far more advanced than these primitive mammals, yet here he was, locked in a stalemate. "Commander," a voice interrupted his thoughts. It was the officer again, his usual nervousness amplified by the mounting pressure of the war. "The reinforcements from the 4th sector have arrived, but their morale is low. They have been briefed on the human resistance, and it has shaken them." The commander's mandibles twitched. Fear? Among his forces? That was unacceptable. Then they will learn discipline the hard way. This is not a war of morale, it is a war of precision. We will crush these humans systematically, starting with their communications. The officer standing nearby shifted uneasily, his armor plates clinking softly. "Commander, they are unpredictable. Their technology is crude but efficient. They adapt to every strategy we use against them. It's as if they thrive on chaos." The commander slammed a clawed hand onto the console, causing the holographic map to flicker. "Adapt. We have conquered empires spanning thousands of systems. We have weapons that can obliterate planets. Are you telling me these mammals are more resilient than the others?" The officer hesitated before replying. "It's not just resilience, Commander. It's something else. They fight like their lives depend on it. Every single one of them, down to the last soldier. They don't surrender. They don't negotiate under threat. They just keep fighting." The resistance launched a coordinated assault, targeting the disoriented alien forces with precision. Fighters swooped in to disable key ships, while ground forces pushed back the invaders with an unrelenting ferocity. Civilians joined the fight, their courage ignited by the sight of their enemies in disarray. It was a moment of unity, of defiance, of hope. But the war was far from over. The alien commander, though shaken, refused to give up. "Enough of this," he roared. "Activate the contingency plan. If we cannot break their spirit, we will break their world." His officers hesitated, knowing the devastating implications of such an order. But the commander's glare left no room for argument. The commander leaned closer to the map, zooming in on the Terran system. He saw the string of destroyed ships and failed incursions. Each time, the humans had rallied against impossible odds. It wasn't just their armies that fought, it was their civilians, their scientists, even their artists. The officer continued, his voice low. "Commander, their strategies are unconventional. They don't follow predictable patterns. One moment they're retreating, the next they're ambushing us with tactics that defy logic. They use everything they can: traps, decoys, even their environment." The commander clicked his mandibles thoughtfully. "Unpredictable. Illogical. This sounds more like desperation than strategy." The officer hesitated, but then nodded and left to carry out the orders. Yet even as he barked commands to the crew, doubt lingered in his mind. He had seen it himself, the humans' refusal to give in, their ability to exploit weaknesses that didn't even seem to exist. Every time the aliens devised a new tactic, the humans countered with something unexpected. It was as if they were reading their minds, or worse, predicting their every move. Down on Earth, Anna and her team were hard at work in one of the many underground resistance bunkers. Screens flickered with streams of alien data intercepted from the fleet above. "If we can crack this code," Anna said, her fingers flying over the keyboard, "we might be able to isolate their fleet's central power source. One good hit, and they'll lose their ability to coordinate." Her team nodded, their faces set with determination. Every day brought new challenges, but giving up was never an option. He straightened and addressed the entire room. "Prepare the fleet for one final assault. We will overwhelm their defenses with sheer numbers. No amount of unpredictability will save them from annihilation." The room buzzed with activity as orders were transmitted across the fleet. Massive warships began aligning themselves toward Earth, their engines glowing ominously in the void of space. The humans, however, were watching. From a hidden base on the dark side of their moon, they tracked the incoming fleet with grim determination. General Marcus Steele, a battle-hardened leader with streaks of grey in his hair, stood before a group of soldiers, engineers, and scientists. On the ground, Anna's terminal lit up with new data. "They're preparing something big," she said urgently. "I'm picking up energy readings that suggest a planetary-scale attack. We need to act fast." Marcus turned to his team, his voice steady despite the urgency. "Then we take the fight to them. If they're going to unleash hell, we're not sitting here waiting for it. We'll strike at the heart of their fleet." "All right, listen up," Marcus said, his deep voice cutting through the tension. "We knew they'd come back, and we knew it would be big. But we faced worse. Remember the orbital siege last year? They outnumbered us then too, and we sent them running. This time we hit them where it hurts. This is our home. They're not taking it from us." The room erupted in cheers, but the weight of the situation was clear. Everyone knew the odds. Everyone knew the stakes. As the fleet approached Earth, strange things began happening to the alien ships. Their advanced systems began malfunctioning. Holographic displays flickered with human faces, delivering messages of defiance. Entire decks filled with the sound of human music, disorienting the crews. The humans had hacked their systems. Suddenly, one of the monitors displayed a strange signal, a pulse, rhythmic and faint, coming from deep within the alien fleet. Anna frowned, leaning closer. "What is that?" "It's not their usual communication pattern." She tapped a few keys, isolating the signal. It almost resembled music, but not human music. This was something different, something layered and intricate. It was mesmerizing yet unnerving. "Could it be some kind of command signal?" one of her teammates asked. Anna shook her head. "No, it feels personal, almost like a message. But why would they be broadcasting something like this?" The plan was audacious, almost suicidal. A small team would infiltrate the alien flagship, using the chaos caused by the distorted signal to slip past their defenses. It was a desperate gamble, but desperation had become humanity's greatest strength. As Marcus and Anna boarded the hastily retrofitted shuttle, the resistance cheered them on, their faith unwavering. The journey to the alien fleet was tense, every second feeling like an eternity. When they finally docked with the flagship, they moved swiftly, their training and instincts guiding them through the labyrinthine corridors. Back on the flagship, the alien commander watched in frustration as reports of sabotage flooded in. "What is this madness?" he roared. "How are they breaching our security?" The officer hesitated again, his mandibles twitching nervously. "Commander, they are using their primitive technology in ways we didn't anticipate. They are not bound by the rules we understand. They think differently, act differently. It's as if they embrace chaos itself." The commander's claws clenched tightly. "Then we will respond with order. Lock down all systems. Deploy the drones. Crush them under the weight of our superior firepower." Before anyone could speculate further, the bunker shook violently. Dust rained down from the ceiling as everyone scrambled for cover. "They found us," someone shouted. Above ground, alien ships unleashed a barrage of energy beams, targeting key resistance locations. The humans retaliated with their railguns and missile systems, but the aliens were hitting harder and faster than ever before. Anna grabbed a portable terminal and shouted over the chaos, "We need to move. Get to the fallback point." Her team hurriedly packed up their equipment, leaving behind only what they couldn't carry. As they emerged from the bunker into the chaos above, they saw the true extent of the alien assault. Fires raged in the distance, and the skies were filled with the glow of energy weapons and the trails of human missiles. Yet even in the face of such destruction, the humans fought on. Civilians helped soldiers evacuate the wounded. Children ran messages between makeshift command posts. It was as if the entire planet was alive with resistance, every individual playing their part. The alien crew was disoriented, their usual discipline shattered by the effects of the distorted signal. Marcus and Anna encountered little resistance as they made their way to the command center. But when they finally arrived, they were met by the commander himself, his imposing figure blocking their path. The skies over Earth lit up as the alien fleet descended. Gigantic ships cast shadows over cities, their weapons glowing ominously. But the humans were ready. They had turned their planet into a fortress. Hidden railguns emerged from mountain ranges, firing tungsten rods at hypersonic speeds. Swarms of autonomous drones built in underground bunkers swirled into the air, targeting the invaders with ruthless precision. Civilians took up arms, using guerrilla tactics to harass alien troops. It wasn't just military personnel fighting this war, it was everyone. Meanwhile, aboard the alien flagship, the commander observed the carnage with satisfaction. Their underground bunkers are no longer safe, he said to his officers. Without those sanctuaries, their resistance will crumble. But even as he spoke, a new report came in. Commander, we're detecting unauthorized signals within our fleet. The humans are hacking us again. The commander slammed a clawed hand onto the console. How do they keep doing this? Shut them out. Lock down all systems. The aliens were stunned. They expected fear and surrender. Instead, they encountered fierce resistance at every turn. As the battle raged, the commander received another report. Commander, we've captured one of their soldiers. A general by the looks of it. The commander's mandibles clicked in satisfaction. Bring him to me minutes later. General Steele stood in the alien control room, bound but unbroken. The commander studied him with cold curiosity. You humans are fascinating creatures. You should know by now that resistance is futile. Why do you persist? Why do you fight so hard for a planet that is doomed? He growled, his eyes locking onto Marcus. You think you can win this war? You think your chaos will prevail over order? Marcus stepped forward, his stance defiant. It's not chaos, it's humanity, and you'll never understand it. Marcus smirked, his eyes gleaming with defiance. You don't get it, do you? We're not just fighting for this planet, we're fighting for each other, for our future. And every time you come at us, you make us stronger. You're not just fighting humans, you're fighting everything we stand for: our will, our creativity, our spirit. Good luck with that. The commander's mandibles twitched in frustration. You speak as if you've already won. Look around you. Your forces are outmatched. Marcus leaned forward, his voice steady. Maybe. But look closer. You're not winning either. How many ships have you lost today? How many of your soldiers are wondering if this fight is worth it? Keep coming, and we'll keep showing you why this was the worst decision you ever made. The technicians worked frantically, but the humans' infiltration was already causing havoc. Alien drones began to spin wildly out of control, crashing into each other or firing indiscriminately at their own ships. The commander's frustration boiled over. Enough of this chaos. Prepare the flagship's main cannon. We will obliterate their capital city and end this war once and for all. The tension was palpable as the two adversaries faced off, the weight of the war hanging in the balance. Anna worked quickly at a nearby console, her fingers flying over the controls as she attempted to disable the flagship's weapon systems. The commander moved to stop her, but Marcus blocked his path, their clash sending sparks flying. The battle continued, both on the flagship and across Earth, as two very different species fought for their place in the universe. The outcome remained uncertain, the story far from over, as humanity and their alien invaders pushed each other to their limits in a conflict that would shape the future of both. As Anna completed the override, the flagship's weapon systems powered down, and a ripple of disarray swept through the alien fleet. The commander, wounded but standing tall, looked at Marcus with a strange mix of anger and respect. You fight not for conquest but for each other, he said, his voice heavy with realization. Perhaps that is why we failed. The commander froze, his compound eyes narrowing. He could sense the truth in the humans' words. For every human they killed, 10 more rose to take their place. For every strategy they deployed, the humans found a counter. This was no ordinary war, it was a battle of endurance, of wills. And the humans had an unshakable resolve that no weapon could break. The commander glared at Marcus, his alien features twisted with frustration. The human stood defiantly, even in chains, as if he had nothing to fear. It was infuriating. The officer behind the commander hesitated before stepping forward. "Commander, our losses are mounting. The humans are targeting our supply lines. Their strikes are too precise. They seem to know our every move. If this continues, we'll be forced to retreat." The massive weapon powered up, its glow visible from orbit. On the surface, humans braced themselves for the inevitable. But in the midst of the chaos, Anna had an idea. "That signal," she said, clutching the portable terminal. "If we can amplify it and broadcast it back to their fleet, it might disrupt their systems further. It's risky, but it's our best shot." Her team worked quickly, setting up a makeshift transmitter. The signal was patched in, amplified, and fired back into space. Marcus, battered but unyielding, extended a hand. "This war can end now. Join us in peace, or we'll fight until our last breath." The commander spun around, his claws slamming onto a console. "Retreat. You dare suggest that we, the most advanced species in this sector, retreat from primitives who barely understand the cosmos? Absurd." His voice echoed through the room, silencing the chatter of his subordinates. But even as he spoke, the reports flashing across the displays painted a grim picture. Ships disabled, troops demoralized, resources dwindling, all because of this stubborn, chaotic species. The effect was immediate. The alien fleet was thrown into disarray as their systems overloaded with the strange pulse. The flagship's cannon, just moments away from firing, powered down abruptly. The commander roared in fury. "What is happening?" Find the source of this interference, but it was too late. The humans had bought themselves precious time, and they weren't going to waste it. Marcus tilted his head, a faint smirk still playing on his lips. "You see, that's your problem. You think in straight lines, follow rigid plans. Humans? We don't. We improvise. We adapt. We turn what you see as weaknesses into strengths. You're playing chess, but we're playing a game you haven't even heard of yet." The commander's claws twitched, tempted to silence the human then and there, but something stopped him. Perhaps it was curiosity, or perhaps it was the nagging thought that the human might be right. On the ground, Marcus Steele, who had escaped captivity during the chaos, rejoined the resistance. His presence reignited hope among the fighters. "Listen up," he shouted to the gathered crowd. "The aliens think they've got us on the ropes, but we've shown them what it means to fight for something bigger than ourselves. They came here thinking we were weak, but we've proven them wrong at every turn. Now's the time to push back harder than ever." The commander hesitated, then took the hand. "War is over. You have shown us true strength." Meanwhile, on Earth, the resistance was in full swing. Underground bunkers buzzed with activity as civilians and soldiers worked side by side. Engineers hacked into alien communications, feeding them false information and creating confusion. Farmers turned their equipment into makeshift weapons. Even artists joined the effort, broadcasting propaganda that demoralized the enemy while inspiring their own people. It was as if the entire planet had become a single, living organism, every part working together for survival. With renewed determination, the humans launched a coordinated counterattack. Makeshift fighter jets took to the skies, engaging alien ships in dogfights. Ground forces used the terrain to their advantage, setting traps and ambushes for the invaders. Every human, no matter how small their role, became a part of the resistance. In one such bunker, a young programmer named Anna tapped furiously at her keyboard, her screen filled with alien symbols she had painstakingly deciphered. "Got it," she exclaimed, drawing the attention of the room. "I've cracked their command codes. We can send their drones into disarray." Cheers erupted around her as the information was quickly relayed to the front lines. Moments later, alien drones, once a terrifying presence in the skies, began to turn on their own fleet. Explosions lit up the horizon as the invaders scrambled to regain control. In orbit, the alien commander stared at the chaos unfolding across his fleet. For the first time in his long career, he felt something he had never experienced before: doubt. These humans were unlike any adversary he had faced. They didn't just fight to survive, they fought to protect, to defy, to inspire. It was a force he couldn't quantify, couldn't predict. Back on the flagship, chaos was spreading. Commander, a technician, shouted, "Our drones are malfunctioning. They're targeting friendly ships. We're losing control. The commander's compound eyes darted across the room, taking in the panic. Shut them down. Override their systems, but it was no use. The humans had turned the tide yet again. The officer approached cautiously. Commander, if we continue like this, we risk losing the entire fleet. Perhaps we should consider a diplomatic approach. The battle raged on, neither side willing to back down. The humans, fueled by their indomitable spirit, continued to find ways to outsmart their technologically superior foes. The aliens, driven by their pride and desperation, refused to admit defeat. And as the war stretched into its next chapter, the universe watched in awe, wondering which force would ultimately prevail, the calculated might of the invaders or the chaotic, unyielding resolve of humanity. The story, like the war itself, was far from over. The battle intensified as Earth's resistance surged with renewed vigor, their determination radiating like a beacon against the shadow of the alien invasion. In the skies, human fighter jets twisted and turned in dogfights, their improvised weaponry somehow holding their own against the sleek alien crafts. Pilots, many of them untrained civilians, took to the skies with grit and hope, while ground forces executed daring ambushes in forests, cities, and deserts. The alien commander observed it all from his flagship, his frustration mounting with each passing hour. "Status report," he barked, his voice sharp with tension. The officer hesitated before answering, his demeanor betraying the grim reality. "Commander, our fleet's cohesion has been severely compromised. The humans have hacked into more of our systems, drones are malfunctioning, and several battalions have been isolated from reinforcements. Morale among the troops is faltering." The commander's mandibles clicked in irritation. Diplomacy? With these unpredictable creatures, it was unthinkable. Yet, as he looked at the human general standing before him, unyielding even in captivity, he began to wonder. What made these humans so different from the countless species they had conquered before? Was it their unpredictability, their adaptability, or something deeper? Marcus, sensing the hesitation, decided to press his advantage. "You think you're fighting a war, but you don't understand what a real war is. For us, it's not just about survival, it's about meaning. Every person on this planet has a reason to fight, and that's why you'll never break us. You can kill us, but you can't defeat us." The commander studied him for a long moment before turning away. "Take him back to the holding cell," he ordered. "I need time to think." The commander slammed a clawed hand onto the console, causing the holographic map to flicker. Faltering? Are we soldiers or hatchlings? I will not tolerate weakness yet. Even as he snarled, he couldn't deny the creeping doubt that gnawed at his confidence. These humans, with their primitive technology and chaotic strategies, had managed to bring his once invincible fleet to its knees. How? It wasn't just their tactics, it was their spirit, their unrelenting refusal to submit. As Marcus was led away, the commander paced the room, his mind racing. He had never encountered a species like this before. Every move he made seemed to backfire. Every strength of his fleet was turned into a weakness by these relentless humans. He couldn't understand it, and that infuriated him. Yet deep down, he couldn't help but feel a grudging respect for them. On the ground, Marcus Steele stood amidst the chaos of a makeshift command center. His uniform was tattered, and his face bore the grime of battle, but his eyes burned with determination. He had become a symbol of hope for the resistance, his escape from the alien flagship a story that spread like wildfire. "We've got them on the ropes," he announced to the gathered fighters. "But this is far from over. They'll regroup, and when they do, we need to be ready." Anna, still clutching her portable terminal, stepped forward. "Marcus, that signal we intercepted, it's doing more than disrupting their systems. I've been analyzing it, and it's almost emotional. It's not just a command signal. It's something deeper, something personal. I think it might be a weakness." On Earth, the resistance celebrated small victories even as the war continued to rage. Each triumph fueled their resolve, but they knew the fight was far from over. General Marcus had been captured, and his absence was felt keenly. Yet his words and strategies lived on, guiding the resistance in his stead. Anna and her team worked tirelessly to find a way to locate and rescue him, their determination unwavering. In the skies above, the alien fleet regrouped, their ships forming a defensive perimeter around their flagship. The commander had called for reinforcements, but even he knew that fresh troops wouldn't guarantee victory. The humans were too resourceful, too unpredictable. He needed a new approach. But what? Marcus frowned, considering her words. A weakness? How Anna hesitated before answering. It's like a song. Not in the way we think of music, but in its structure. It's almost as if it's a memory, something that resonates deeply with their species. If we can figure out how to use it, we might be able to turn it against them. As the days turned into weeks, the war dragged on, neither side willing to yield. On the surface, humanity fought with everything they had, their unity unshaken despite the overwhelming odds. In the heavens, the aliens struggled to maintain their foothold, their superior technology proving less effective against the humans' ingenuity. And in the midst of it all, the commander pondered his next move, torn between his desire for conquest and the growing realization that this war might not be winnable. The resistance leaders exchanged glances, a mix of skepticism and hope on their faces. "Do it," Marcus said finally. "If there's even a chance it could give us an edge, it's worth the risk." Meanwhile, aboard the alien flagship, the commander stood alone in his private chamber, the weight of the war pressing heavily on him. He activated a hidden console, and the strange signal Anna had detected filled the room. It was a haunting, ethereal melody, one that seemed to echo from the depths of his being. It was an ancient song of his people, a reminder of their unity, their purpose. But now, it felt like a mocking refrain, a reminder of their failure to conquer these defiant humans. The commander's thoughts were interrupted by a sudden alert. "Commander," the officer's voice crackled through the intercom. "We've detected a new transmission from the humans. They're broadcasting the signal back to us, but it's distorted. It's affecting the fleet." The commander's claws tightened into fists. What are they doing? Analyze the signal and counteract it. But it was too late. Across the alien fleet, the distorted signal reverberated through their systems, causing chaos. Ships veered off course, their pilots overcome by a strange, overwhelming sensation. It wasn't fear or anger, it was something they couldn't identify, something deeply unsettling. For the first time in their existence, they felt vulnerable,